Hello, 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 hello.
Hey everybody,
Welcome, everybody. How you doing?
welcome.
How you doing? Welcome to everybody. Hey, California girl, sassy queen. How you doing? Welcome to everybody up in the balcony up there. Hello, hello. Welcome to another, I guess, panel or whatever of health, politics, and wellness. Um, it's a lot going on right now, so excuse me. I'm doing double duty. But yep. So first, let me welcome you. Hi, I'm Captivating Christian of CCN Network TV. And over here is dum dum dum.
Mr. Credential. Hey everybody.
How you doing? How you doing? Thanks for coming out. I ask that you please hit that like button on your way in. Please, I'd appreciate it. We would appreciate it.
Yeah.
Today, we're going to talk about a few things real quick. Definitely about what's going on in the world of politics right now. President Donald Trump's Senate impeachment hearing is going on right now with opening statements still going on. So that's happening. Uh, some few other things I want to talk about. Hillary Clinton's documentary. Um, a few other things. Lev Parnas' attorney basically calling out Mike Pence for saying that he didn't know him, and then the attorney dropped the bomb of a video with him with Karen Pence and Mike Pence at a table dinner. I think in Mar-a-Lago, probably. Talk about that and some other things. And I'll shoot it over to Mr. Credential real quick.
All right, guys. So we're actually going to focus get a little bit more in depth about mental wellness, and I actually want to speak about it in pertaining to social media a little bit. There's a lot of things that we need to focus on, and we need to stay strong in while we are doing our ventures here within social media. So I want to focus on those things and some wellness and just everyday things because it's important because we spend most of our lives doing what we do every day. So staying well in them and being well with the people around us is really important just on a regular basis. So that's the general of what we're going to talk on, and we're going to get, like I said, in some deeper sectors as we just kind of feel it out, see what you know, see what you think, and how you feel. And I want to, get some feedback from everybody.
All right. So first, let's start with this impeachment Senate hearing that's going on. Of course, we know that. Well, if you don't know, it all first started with the whistleblower, uh, basically reporting that something wasn't right in a conversation that he heard or she heard. We don't know the identity of said whistleblower, but um, it started with that. Other people then took um, their own initiative to say, hey, something's not right here. Um, Adam Schiff, the Intelligence Committee chair for Congress, um, basically got the evidence and started to call people, subpoena people to come and testify. That happened. Don't know if you know all of the people that testified, but if you go back in some of my videos, especially early on, I kind of laid everybody out, showed you pictures of who all the people were. Um, so right now, excuse me if I'm just speeding on through it, but trying to give you just a condensed thing of actually how we ended up right here at this point. So then, after the witnesses were heard, basically they started to draft up articles of impeachment. The House voted on it. Nancy Pelosi held on to the articles of impeachment after they was passed to the Judiciary Committee, which some people say was a bad move, but I definitely think it was a good move, just for the simple fact that the last bit of evidence did drop, and I think she was definitely aware that if she handed them this information without that last bit of evidence dropping, that they would have totally swept that under the rug and you wouldn't have known anything about it. So with Lev Parnas's part of this whole impeachment mess, I think it kind of put all the pieces together as far as the henchmen, who kind of were the people just caught in the crossfires, and who were the real cover-ups. So with that, after that rather, we end up here, pretty much now that the Senate has the articles of impeachment. Of course, Mitch McConnell is trying to shift the whole thing and basically make it real quick, get it over real fast and real quick. And funny enough, when it was Clinton being impeached, it was such a moral code on the presidency that something that he did between him and his wife, which has nothing to do with really being the president of the United States in a sense, became this big thing of he's immoral and he's not uh, suited to be president because of his immorality and all this other kind of stuff. So now, fast forward to a man who has used his office to not only enrich himself, but to make sure to try and cheat for the next election and don't even know who the front runner is. You just going after Biden like he might be the front runner. So I'm going to go ahead and get at him early. Makes no sense to me.
Right.
That these same people who are so patriotic and so America first and all this other mess that they liked, or vitriol that they like to spew, are the same ones who are now going along to get along, and even bringing Obama back into this, as far as well, he withheld aid too. Yeah, he withheld aid from countries that were doing basically really bad things to their citizens. That's why he withheld aid.
Right.
And which you can do. There's nothing wrong with that. If you're giving out aid to a country and they're not following civil laws and killing their people and all these other things that are happening, then yeah, you have every right to, hey, no, we're gonna hold back on that aid till you start treating your people better, till you start giving them aid, till you start feeding them, so on and so forth. Which I don't think nothing wrong with that. But to hold it so you can get dirt on something or dirt on someone, I think that's ridiculous. So that's basically where we are with that. Like I said, right now, the managers for the Congress are basically giving their opening statements, dropping evidence of text messages, voice recordings, people involved, testimony from other people, and basically just dropping dropping everything as fact,
Right.
and kind of leaving emotion out of it. So we'll see where this goes. We just need only four Republicans are needed to kind of switch it to where in which um, people, new witnesses and evidence can be heard. So hopefully, some four Republicans will get the guts from somewhere and really say, you know what, if he didn't do anything wrong, he should let's have a fair hearing where we hear all the evidence.
Right.
Because
Right.
if he didn't do nothing wrong, he should be good.
Right.
So if he
Right.
had a perfect call, let the call be perfect and show the evidence.
Right.
So that's where we are with that.
Right.
So
So I have a
mhm.
question, Cap, which I
Yep.
think could be interesting. Do you think that the way that things are being carried out is the proper way? Do you think there's a better way to handle the articles of impeachment or actually the process of impeachment? Is there anything that's been skipped over? Do you think that it's being handled correctly, thoroughly, and everything is being done to carry it out, or are there some steps that are being missed?
No, I mean pretty much it's being carried out the way it's supposed to. It's just the level of partisanship that I think is making this a bit a mess. Usually, because even with Clinton's impeachment trial, it was everybody was for it. It
Right.
wasn't just a Republican thing.
Right.
It was Democrats too that were on board just for the simple fact to make sure that everything, like, let the evidence be heard. I mean, I'm sure a lot of Democrats figured there's nothing he did wrong to be impeached, but they did not vote against uh, the Republican senators for wanting one an impeachment trial, two when he went before the Senate with impeachment, it was video deposition, but he had given all his evidence. He had turned everything over. He didn't cover anything up because the reality was it was about um, a land deal that he had made when he was governor or president elect, like in between that
Hmm.
time.
Hmm.
It just so happened that in doing that investigation, they uncovered the fact that he was having an affair with an intern. So
Hmm.
that's how that Clinton thing got and then because they couldn't really find anything with the real estate deal, they jumped on, oh, he's having an affair in the Oval Office. And I mean, I went to so lengths to get the dress and DNA the dress and all this other stuff that was like totally like, where are we going with this? If anybody is the judge, jury, and executioner, it's his wife,
Hmm.
not the American people over something that he did.
Hmm.
Other than that, if he is, if he's leading the country and he's not doing anything as far as that's concerned, then what's the big issue? But they trying to, of course, connect the two and say that we're dealing with the same thing here, and we're totally not.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
man definitely is using his power to, again, not only enrich himself and the rest of his family, but to, um, you know, rig the election if he can. Personally, I think he did it the first time in 16. So, because it's like, why wouldn't he do it again? If he got away with it the first time, he's doing it again.
Right.
Well, hey, it's just only right. But no, I don't think, to answer your question, I don't think any steps are missed. I just think it's unfortunate that we have a Congress, or a Senate rather, that, and regardless of who's in power in either house, I think if it comes to that point where in which, hey, um, hold on, let's take a step back and let's let the process play out. If he didn't do anything, let's hear the evidence. If he did do something, let's hear it and vote on it.
Right.
That's it. It's just as simple. You know what I'm saying? But it's like to do all this covering up, it's like, yeah, because more people are going to be exposed. More wrongdoing is going to be exposed, and it's going to become a big, excuse me, but a big shit show in a minute. So
Right.
we'll
Right.
see.
Yeah. Yeah. So to kind of go and along with the political things and laws and along with mental health as well, Cap and I was speaking a little while ago, and I'm not sure if anybody in the chat is aware that there was a landlord that was killed in New York because he came to one of the tenants' homes to collect rent, and the tenant had owed maybe $200 in back rent. And there's a video, a live video from a Ring doorbell where the guy was pushed down the stairs, and actually he plummeted to his death. And there are two things that I want to address here. One, I want to ask the question to Kat: do you feel that landlords should be given the same amount, or the allotment of law of protection that of a postal worker? Where it's like a federal person, they should be, if they're assaulted, you get a federal charge, because it's happening more often with these landlords because they're not protected. When they go to the property, they're actually being hurt. Like the guy was killed just because he came to get rent.
Yeah, excuse me. I feel a little two-parted about that. Yes, there should be some protection, but I also feel like a lot of times people go um the cheapest route and not go through a property management company, because
Right,
that's usually what property management companies are. It's almost like insurance,
right,
to ensure that you get your money, uh, because they don't have to go through, they have people to go through all that. You get the money, or you set up a fund or
hmm,
something where in which the money goes there. So there's very little contact that would
right,
involve the landlord and the actual tenant.
right.
Um,
The landlord was in his 70s. Wow, Haitian princess said he was in
yeah,
his. Wow.
yeah, it was Daily News. Yeah, I read that. Yeah, the owner was in his 70s, um, and I mean to do that to someone. I mean that alone is crazy.
Yeah,
But
that is what I wanted to talk about, because the thing about it is that this person owed $200 in back rent, and had they have communicated, been of a sound mind to communicate their needs, and maybe the landlord would have been willing to work with them. So they go from not being able to pay their rent to having to spend whatever charge they get for time in jail.
right,
And my thing is, instead of, oh, it's easy to criticize the person, but
mhm,
we don't know how sound-minded that person was when they did it.
yeah,
Maybe they weren't frenzied, maybe they were in panic, maybe something was really wrong with them, or maybe the intent was to get them out of get the landlord out of their face versus
mhm,
killing them. But it's just, again, that's why we don't know how life is going to come at us. We don't know what's going to happen every day. So we
right.
always got to try to be the best that we can be, because that could have been avoided. Now life is gone. A family is mourning because you basically chose to take someone's life because you owe them money.
Right. Well, I mean, I think it's a lot to that, because you don't
Yeah,
know if the actual if the landlord had allowed this person to kind of go, month after month with, I only have this, I only have that, I
right,
only have this.
right.
Um, and after a while, that can be a bit of an issue as well.
Yeah,
Um, and then too, we don't know how much the rent is. So you're talking about something in New York maybe being 2,000, so $2,200 instead of paying your 2,000 when you barely have the 2,000,
yeah.
could put people over the edge. So I don't know. It's really
Yeah,
interesting.
it's a touchy situation. It's interesting, but at the end of the day, we have to stop and realize that no situation, no matter what the need is, what the monetary issue is, it's not worth hurting someone like that. It's not. We've got to be better than that. We really got to approach things better than that.
No, it's not. And in a sense, I'm glad that we've come to an age where in which now our doorbells can videotape and we don't
Yeah,
necessarily always have to have our phones out.
yeah,
But it's again, it's a bit of a touchy subject, because again, a lot of times they are property management companies that handle all this. I mean, even some to where in which they have police or some sort of security detail with them when they go to collect rent for situations like this. And I
right,
understand older people, that might have been his mother's house or wife's house, or some, family that he decided to make some extra income and rent it out. And probably never had a problem with tenants before.
right.
So to that degree, so, he didn't think anything of it, which, I get. But um it's kind of it's still a dangerous situation.
Right.
It's something that I don't think you should ever take lightly, because you never know when that
Right.
moment may come, when that tenant, or even you as the landlord, may feel a bit like, okay, I've had enough with
Right.
you, or with what you're trying to do. So
And
yeah,
it appeared very much like he had had enough, because if you look at the video, the landlord was actually pushing at the
yeah,
tenant, and the tenant was pushing back, and then the
yeah,
final
the
push
shove,
was,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. I
Mhm.
want to go back, take a minute, and say hello to Antoinette Herrera. I'm sorry we were talking, I didn't see you, but welcome on into the chat.
Yeah.
So yeah, I thought that was an
Hey, Patty
interesting
Dude.
subject.
Welcome to everybody who's just coming in.
Yes,
Uh,
welcome.
as you come in, I please ask that you hit that like button. Thank you. Right now, we were talking about a story on the Daily News about a landlord who had was pushed to his death after trying to collect money from a tenant. Earlier, I was talking about, well, kind of speeding through the process of where we are now with the Senate impeachment trial. And California girl, I'll go back to your question. Yes, I do want Bolton to testify, but they're trying to cover that up as well, to make sure that he testifies in a closed door hearing and not in public, which basically means that they can classify everything he says, and you may never know the truth about his testimony. It'll just be hearsay.
Hmm.
So, I think that's unfortunate. But
Right.
again, if he didn't do anything, and this is just, I mean, he said it out of his own words. Uh, you know, Only people that lie plead the fifth, and all this other stuff. So again, if we're gonna use his own, as the people like to say, narratives, if we're gonna use his own words, basically, I think that everybody should be able to testify at this point, with no executive privilege, with no kind of covering. Just let it out, because at the end of the day, the Senate's gonna, vote to acquit you anyway, right?
Right.
Right. And if you're that confident in that, then let it all come out.
Right.
Let it all come
It's a
out.
facade. It's just a fake it till you make it kind of thing. Hopefully, it
Yeah, I
won't.
mean, he says that. He says that all the time. It's like
Yeah.
he'll say one thing, and the people will get like, he's like, "Yeah, I'll testify. I don't have a problem testifying." And then surely, as it comes up closer, he'll be like, "Oh yeah, I was told not to testify. You were never going to testify to begin with. You say things that salaciously will get the attention of the press, and that is one thing he is good at. He is good at spinning a story. He's not so good at following through with a story,
Right.
but he's definitely good at spinning it
Right.
for the moment, to get you talking or doing something else, or the next episode. Like, I wonder what's gonna happen. But he's definitely not good at following through with his stuff, because everything changes.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we definitely need transparency. I think transparency is the only way that can actually bring faith back into the system.
Right. I
He's
think a
done
lot of people have lost faith.
Yeah, because he's done so much to disrupt it, so that way you can mistrust it. But I think it is very important that we do have transparency, so that way it can bring trust back into the system, that the system is not broken. The people may be broken, but the system itself is not um,
Right.
broken.
Right. Right.
Mm. I mean, it lasted for what, 200 and something years now, so it's like, yeah, it's definitely the people.
Yeah. Yeah. And we
Definitely.
know that to be true in the city of Baltimore, looking at all the corrupt people that they keep finding, and people having homes. What was his name? I forgot his name, but found out that he had a house that nobody knew about, and just it's
Was
on
this,
top of. Hmm.
was this recent?
Yeah, I can't remember his name. Bald guy with the glasses. I cannot remember. But anyway,
I think he's a city councilman, I think.
I think so. But since I don't have all the facts as far as his name, I'm just gonna let that one ride.
I
So
I
looking
kind
at
of read local stuff, and a whole bunch of stuff. Like, actually, somebody was asking me even about my thoughts about Cardi B saying she was going to run for Congress, and I'm like, I didn't hear anything about that. But I think about that, like, I thought about Kanye West saying he was going to run for president. Like,
Right.
yeah, okay.
Right. Right.
Um, Granted, if you ran for your area, your district, I'm sure you will probably get votes. But anything other than that, probably not. And then when you actually get to DC and realize it is not the same, it's not the same game that you think. I
Right.
think it's definitely an issue.
Right. Right. Hey, how you doing? Story time with Shay. So let's navigate this back toward the mental health side. So recently, I had the option to get on live with not live, but call in with Jay Wilson. And when I called in, we had a really good conversation. However, I noticed that not just in his chat, because again, I'm not saying anything about Jay Wilson. I'm just talking about what I noticed in the chats throughout YouTube. So I'm noticing a lot of people are focusing on what people's sexuality is, whether they're gay or straight or bi or whatever. And at the end of the day, I question, why does that matter? Why does who someone's sleeping with or who someone prefers matter to someone? Because we're not here for that. If we're here for right now politics and mental wellness, why does someone's husband or wife or whoever that they're choosing to date matter? What does it serve us to worry about those things? I just feel like it's a stance to go about um ridiculing people, because we should be practicing inclusion with everyone, no matter what their preference is and who they are.
Mm, okay. Um,
If you got a counter argument, please come on.
no, it's not necessarily kind of. I mean, I see it to where in which some people probably just ask just because it's a limited few, I guess, of just heterosexual men in I don't want to say sector, but in this small little area, I guess. So it's just to I guess just to check, but at the end of the day, you're right. I mean, it shouldn't really matter. What should matter is what you present. Um, and I I just think that that's more important. But people are gonna ask. They're
Yeah,
gonna. So
it's not the fact that people are going to ask. It's not what they're going to ask. It's the concern of, why is it important? Why is that important? What does it do for people in their mental status, and what does it justify? What difference does it change? Because as soon as someone finds out that you are or aren't something, like, see, now you know. So what
yeah,
difference does it make? So obviously it does something for you.
yeah. Well, I mean, possibly. I don't know. I can't speak for people, but
Yeah,
I
of
mean,
course not.
yeah,
Of
I
course.
guess, yeah.
I was California girl says some people ask just to be nosy because they're curious, and some people just have a conversation. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. I'm not saying that asking is a problem or it's a bad thing, because if someone doesn't want to answer a question, they should just not do it. They shouldn't be forcing themselves to do it. But I'm just curious, in the world that we live in, what does that serve us? And Patty Duke said it doesn't serve us at all, and I agree. I mean,
Mm,
I understand the being inquisitive, but what does it serve us? Because
right.
our life at YouTube or in YouTube should be separate from our lives outside of YouTube. So if we incorporate that and we decide to put that on Front Street, that's up to the person. But again, it's just a conversational piece. It's not really a problematic thing for me. I'm just curious.
Yeah. No, I get it. I get it. I get it. Well, I mean, I guess some people. I mean, they're just curious to know. I guess I don't really know what that's about, but
Yeah.
hey, they are.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. This is very interesting. I don't know. I didn't
Yeah, I
even.
mean, that's why I wanted to open it up. I'm interested because it's not right or wrong. It's just a broad thing, why people are interested in that, it's almost like it comes off as if people are stating that you being a certain way is taking something away from them, and it's just not the case. You
Yeah.
can find somebody to be happy with if you really want to. It's your choice,
Or even if like you married, so it wouldn't even make you a difference either way. So it's just like not you. I'm just saying
Right,
the people that ask the questions are sometimes married, and it's like, okay, you asking for what and why? Um, there is no reason for you to be asking if you're married. Like,
right, right,
I'm not trying to be on Maury. I'm not trying to be on Jerry Springer with you and your husband.
right,
So
right,
I'm good.
right.
Yeah, I know it's funny though.
Yeah. Yeah. So alongside of that, another thing I wanted to discuss is knowing when to let go of things, knowing when to let go of people, places, pain, and then regrounding yourself.
Mm,
And my question is that how many people actually know when it's time to let go? What tells you? Is it something that you feel? Is it because you're tired? I'll self-disclose that personally, I know when it's time to let go when something is hurting me beyond what it should. So if I'm holding on to something, whether it's anger or disagreement with someone, and it's causing me an issue daily where I'm still stuck on, I'm focusing on it, and it's present for me long after the person is or the issue is, it's
mhm,
time for me to let go. You
mhm.
know, and I think that a lot of us, and I'm not saying that specific to anyone, but us being in general, we do not know when to let go. What are you laughing at?
Laughing at a comment.
Okay, my bad.
I put it.
Um,
I'm
we
not
just don't know when to let go and holding on, and it actually hurts us because we're often scared of what's on the other side of letting go. Once
like.
I close this door, what is the other door going to look like? But to that, I say to you and everyone else and myself, you won't know until you open the door.
Right. I mean, and that is very true. I'll go back to your beginning, and then I'll and then we end. As far as letting go, it is important to let go. You cannot move forward and grow from any situation holding on to anything. I personally try to make it a habit not to hold grudges or stay in my feelings about something. I do deal with it in the moment. In the moment, I may be like, "The hell," and and all that. But after I release it, either to my friends or to myself,
Hmm.
I let it go. I don't let it like foster in me or
Right,
have built up. Now I set my boundaries for myself, but I let it go because I don't again I can't grow and get to a place where I need to be or where I'm, if I want to take it to church, called to be, if I'm holding on to things someone did, said, or didn't do or didn't
right,
say. Um,
right,
there's no growth in that for me. And growth is important um, because it's knowledge, it's lesson, it's education. I
right,
don't think we ever stop learning about
right,
ourselves, about other people, about situations, about how to handle situations differently. Um, going into a situation when I was, say, 25 is going to be different at 35. Well, it should be, um, because you should have gained a lot of experience and knowledge to where in which what you've done at 25, you shouldn't be doing at 35. Now, if you are, as in the words of Medea or somebody, check your bulb because something ain't right.
right.
You should not be doing the same things that you was doing at 25 at 35.
You
There's a
shouldn't be.
Right, you
However,
should be.
however, sometimes there are reasons why people do.
Yeah, I
And
mean, there's traumas and all types of things to the reasons why people do, which I understand, but um, I definitely think it's all about maturity for one. Um, and that comes sometimes for film people, that comes with time. That don't always come right away. Uh, it is definitely. I'm not even looking at these comments because they make me laugh.
that's what
It's definitely very important to make sure that there is growth and maturity happening in your life.
right,
Whether the people help you do that or you start to look for that and do that within yourself.
right. But
Like,
sometimes it's not just interrupting. Sometimes not being able to let go is not always about maturity. it's about anxiety. Because as we often talk about, anxiety will cause people to ride the bus until the last stop because they don't know when to get off, they don't know how to get back on if they get off, and they fear having anxiety, so you wind up having anxiety about having anxiety.
Well,
So
for one that doesn't have anxiety, but does get a little nervous about things, I will say this: um, sometimes you have to step out on faith a little bit and just take that leap because you will never know. It's always an unknown. Everything's an unknown. Like people like, oh, I was nervous about getting married. Well, why were you nervous? Because I don't know what was going to happen if we was going to end up in divorce. Who knows? Nobody
right.
ever knows that.
But that's from a sound mind though. That thought is from a sound
No,
mind.
I understand. I understand that, but my whole purpose of that is not even that it's of a sound mind. It's just it's a reality of what it is. We don't know. It's almost like when people say, at one point, I'll use myself for example. At one point, as a kid, I was so like afraid of death. Like I'd be up all night, like, what's gonna happen? Like, oh my god, I'm so scared. I'm so nervous. And I used to be like, so like, go to family funerals and be in the back chilling. Like, I'm not going up there. Nope, nope,
Right,
nope, nope.
right, right,
And my dad told me one time, he was like, it's a life. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what life you talking about, but not, not the part that I want. But more and more, I started to understand and come to grips with that. That it is a part of life that we all have to take that journey. That no one knows what is beyond this life. We hope for um, things to be different, better, and all these things, pie in the sky, heavenly things or whatever.
right.
Like I like to always say, I want my cookie dough ice cream, but we don't, but we don't really know. So um, I try not to get worked up about things I don't know. I just seem to just go for it and um, and trust and have faith. Like yes, I'm gonna be nervous about it. Yes, it may cause but my faith in knowing that okay, I may not know what I'm doing, but if I trust in God, in God or whatever power you believe in, but if you trust in that first and then move, um, that your steps will be ordered in the way in which it should
I
be.
gotta interrupt you though, because not everybody works that way.
Understand?
I'm just saying because you can't make a blanket statement like that for someone who has a chemical component that may be preventing them from seeing it like you see it.
Well, I understand, but at the same time, if you have a chemical component, are there not chemical pills for you to take?
It's not that easy. It is
No,
just
I'm just
because
saying. I'm
but
just saying. But are there
you
not?
joking, you playing, but like being serious,
No, I'm
everybody.
not, I'm not playing. I'm just saying. I
But
mean, I
it's
said it in a
it's not
jokingly
that
way.
simple. That mental health has to be taken seriously. Everyone, there's no blanket statement. There's no way that just,
I know, no, and seriously, I understand that, but I'm saying that there are pills.
but
Um,
it is. But I'm just saying we projecting this to people, so I want to make sure we get
no,
this
no, 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 no. I
straight.
totally
Like,
get that. I totally get that. There are pills and psychiatrists and
but even with the
these things.
pills, though, even with the pills, sometimes it takes multiple tries to get the right medicine for people. So sometimes people still feel like they're having anxiety about anxiety because the pills they're taking, they're just not working, or maybe the dosage is off. So
Yeah,
it's
no,
causing more issues for them.
excuse me, and I totally get that. It's the same thing with um doing medicine for that matter. Not all pills will work for everybody. Some people can take one pill that is a universal pill for, say, diabetes or something, and it may not work for them. They
Right,
may need something stronger or something different. So in that part, I get that. But again, it's the same thing with mental health. Everything that works for somebody else is not going to work for a different individual. So you got to try it in order to know if, hey, this doesn't work for me, or hey, that actually works for me better than this. But you have to try what's out there to kind of get a, I don't want to say grip, but get an understanding of what works for you.
right, right. Yeah, and sometimes there are things that happen that, trauma does. You'll be fine all your life, and then you hit 55, and then you lose someone, and the older you get, the ability to cope sometimes steps back, and you'll find yourself in a different place as you get older, needing more help to cope because you've lost your ability to do so. You cope with life differently. You learn and you move to navigate. Well, you learn how to navigate as you move. But
Mhm.
sometimes as you get older, you can lose your way. It's not every
Yeah,
wisdom does
no,
come with age, but
yeah, things can happen to where in which you lose your way. Yes,
right,
that is absolutely correct.
yeah,
Um, and I know sometimes we can be very prideful, but there are places and things we can go to kind of help us regain some sort of path. Um,
yeah. Unfortunately, everybody doesn't know that though, and that's
no,
why we
everybody
need.
doesn't know that, but again, that's one reason why conduits like this and other people's platforms can bring awareness to certain things to where in which you'll go, oh, okay, I never thought about that. Like for example, life coaches. Now some I don't know, I would question, but others I think it's a good thing. It's a good concept. It's almost like having a mentor or um, a coach, exactly a coach
Well,
like in an athletic kind of thing that pushes you, that motivates you to uh, score higher, or and it's just in life. And I think that if you're in a place where in which you don't feel like you're moving, that you're pretty stagnant, but you want elevation, because of course at first it's got to start with you. You got to want it. Um, no life coach, no $1 million, no lottery ticket, nothing's going to help you if you don't want to change you. So once you decide, okay, I want to make a change in how I feel and what I'm going through, then then you can get those steps in, get the life coach, or do whatever it is you need to do to elevate yourself. Um, I'm sorry, to elevate yourself and do, you know, and do what you need to do. But
yeah.
again, it starts with you.
So
Even
you
if you
said you would question a life coach.
I question some life coaches. Some.
Okay. You said you question life
No,
coaches.
I said I question. No, I'm sorry. I said I question some life
I'm just
coaches.
saying, you want to project that because that could
No,
be.
no, 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 no. But I'm saying that's what I said. I said some, but maybe I said it too fast and you didn't hear me. But I said I question some life coaches, because some people just say, "Oh, I'm a life coach," and you'd be like, "Okay," but you see nothing where in which they've motivated or moved or done anything where in which somebody went, oh, like you really changed my life. So you just, they're just say they're life coaches, and you're like, okay, well, what do you do? What are you doing? What's your message? What are
Right,
you
right,
like?
right, 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 right.
Like
I want to.
I shouldn't even be I shouldn't have to be your client for me to see you on whatever I see you on and go, dang, like wow, like
Right,
that's what a life coach
right,
is. Like I could be like, in some ways, I think it's a bit because of her platform, but Oprah, in a sense, could be considered a life coach to some, because she comes on, she says it, and I mean, people totally, oh, they change their whole life, but and I guess for some, again, for some, she could be, um, but personally, I need somebody I can interact with.
right,
She's,
right. Yeah, you had the fit has to be right. So sometimes you have to even just like the pills are trial and error. The physicians or care providers are trial and
yeah,
error as well.
yeah, they are.
I'm looking at his sister. She said, I beg to differ. Death affects people differently. Age doesn't have anything to do with it. That comment is subjective. I'm not going to tell you you're wrong because that's not what I'm here for. But that is a very subjective comment. And, everything affects everyone differently. So age may not have anything to do with it for you, but I try not to make blanket statements because we do not know what is going on in other people's lives and what is causing them to be affected. So, I respect your opinion though, but I just want to make sure we're not making blanket statements.
Mhm. Um,
Cause mental health. Um, pills cause. I wonder if they were taking was the dosage right? Were they on the right medication? Were they taking the medicine but not doing the work? Pills isn't the answer for everyone. You know, you need to do some work. There's work to be done. And medication, it's like someone giving you diet pills without you exercising at all. And you're expecting just to be right. Your mind is something that you have to work. It's like a muscle. You have to work it and work it because as you change and as things hit you differently, you're going to experience them differently. And you have to make sure that if you're not in a position to handle it, you get yourself into a position to handle it. You know, talking to your friends and talking to your family and the people around you, see if they notice changes, if they notice anything different about you, and that will be helpful because they see you the most.
Mm. Interesting.
I agree. Antoinette Herrera said, sorry, my thing went blank.
Everything affects people different, uh, differently on every different level, age, gender, so on and so forth.
Yeah, and I exactly, I agree with that. It does. It really does affect everyone differently. And, you know, that's why with mental health, it's really hard to make blanket statements because it's hard. You don't want to condemn anyone or, you know, make anyone feel less than or differently because what their issue or situation doesn't fit what you're saying. And it's like, well, if he's taking this medicine and he's feeling good or she's feeling good, why am I not feeling well? You know, we
Mm,
gotta be careful with that because it's really a tough pill to swallow.
mm.
You know, so
Okay, so let's switch a little bit of the gears
okay,
to something that's not so political, but political in a sense, because I just thought this was interesting. And this could probably be posed to the women in the chat more so than us being males. But Tyler Perry, uh, it's been said that it was reported recently that he has used black women. Um,
hmm
he's made so much money off of depicting black women, but do you think that his portrayal of black women is accurate?
you want me to answer or do you want to wait for?
I'll wait for somebody to
Okay,
answer
and then we'll get into it.
right before we answer. Um, and I say that because he directs, he writes, he does everything himself. Um, he says that his muse, or when he writes his stories or his female characters, he reflects on his own mother situation and the women in his family.
Right.
That's where he gets his inspiration from for the female characters. He does not refer to any female writers, directors, or anything of that nature to kind of get a woman's perspective. So, do
Yeah.
you think that his depiction of black women is accurate? And that's for the women in the chat to answer first, and then
Yeah.
we will.
Patty said no.
Yeah,
She doesn't think it's accurate. I
I know she was going to say that. Oh, I was asking if I'll repeat myself. The question was Tyler Perry. Tyler Perry has been known to make millions of dollars off of the backs, well, not the backs, but depicting black women. Um, so do you think that his depiction of black women is accurate? If so, yes. If not, kind of why? If so, if you agree, then why? And then, I guess we'll do it. But I wanted to first ask the women in the chat because it's about you guys. So I just wanted to know if you felt that that was accurate.
California girl said, I believe that he would not be where he is without black women. And that's fairly accurate because if he's depicting them without the depiction, he wouldn't be there.
Right. Right. That's true. That is true.
I believe maybe some women in his life, maybe some women he's been surrounded by. And that's what I was going to touch on, but I'll wait till we
Well, that's what he said. He said he did state that his muse is his mother and certain women in his family that he had seen go through these kind of situations.
right,
So that's where he draws his inspiration from.
right,
However, he does not have any writers um, or other directors. He likes to do his own thing. I mean, granted, he does come from a stage play kind of background where in which he did everything himself, especially when he first started on what's known as the Chitlin circuit. So I understand it, and I mean sometimes if it ain't broke, don't try to
don't
fix
fix
it.
it. Yeah,
But I, I don't know. I think it just limits a lot of things. But I'll let you guys.
I'll say this.
Yeah, I agree with that too, Mrs.
I We don't know all black women. As many of them as we may know, we've not met all personalities, we've not met all personality types. So just because he is portraying a depiction of a certain ones at certain times, doesn't mean that's all that's out there. Maybe that's what he's seeing, maybe that's what he's used to, maybe that's what he feels like will make money. Maybe that's what he thinks people want to see. You
Mhm.
know, it's so jumbled up and it's not a right or wrong thing. Do I think that he means that everyone that he is portraying is that's all that black women are? No. What?
No, I'm just laughing at what Patty Duke said. Most of the women he depicts, I don't know.
Oh, I can't believe. Hey, Purple Power. I can't be wrong if it's his beliefs about women. You know, Antoinette, I don't even know if that is his belief though, because someone can put on a movie, it doesn't mean that they believe it. It's just something that they can accurately portray because it's easy, or maybe that's where they just have that vision. Some people are visionaries and
Mhm,
they're able to create things. Like, I'm good at creating things, I'm a visionary.
mhm.
So even if I haven't fully seen it, I can walk it out and make it look like it's real and make it feel like it's real even if it's not. So I mean, we could go back and forth about this a lot.
Yeah, we
um,
can. I will just say though that um I enjoy the thing I enjoy about I guess his movies that sometimes are hits or misses is that it does depict an array of black women from the struggle, sort of, kind of, in and out of the streets to a very successful, well-to-do, educated, and so on and so forth. Even a woman who, may have fell on hard times, but is educated or went to go get education and try to better her life and all those type of things. So there is an array of black women he does depict in his films
right.
to show depth of the black woman and the strength of black women because you guys are quite strong, um, but but I do believe that he needs to start to incorporate um,
Positive
some
depiction.
other voices to
Yeah,
his work.
yeah, yeah,
I get it, but at this point you have built a studio that no one can um, take that from you. You've created something big, not only just for him, but just for us to look at and be like, wow, I could do that. I could see myself. I could see myself there. I can
right.
envision um, doing that or what have you, so on and so forth. But to limit that to you only doing everything is kind of a disservice at the same time to the people. I think so.
You know, I I wonder if it's actually a disservice or if it is that he's found a niche that works for him and that he's choosing to make it work without.
Yeah, but how long do you think that that's gonna work? It's not gonna work
Is it
forever. I
working?
mean, it's just not. Hmm?
It's been working thus far.
Yeah, it's been working. It's been working thus far, correct. But I mean, that's just something that I don't think is gonna work forever. It'll work for a while, but you do need other voices. Because other people have different experiences in different situations.
Yeah.
Because what your mother and your aunt had experienced, I'm sure that somebody a lot younger who's dealing with the age of uh, you know cell phones and iPads and internet and social media of all kinds, a lot
Right.
different. I'm just saying.
Oh, the comedy in that, boy.
Yeah, I mean,
I get what you're saying though. I totally get it, but I just think that it should be a little bit more lighthearted than that. It's just a movie. It's just a play. That may be relevant. It may not. But I do think that it does come to a time where that kind of narrative ends. But I think that's also could be something that he's doing with Medea dying. We don't know what's coming next. I mean, I haven't really been keeping up with whatever latest of Tyler Perry is out there right now. So
mhm. I think it's that movie, Fall from Grace. I haven't seen it yet, so
I've not seen that either.
it's on Netflix. Yeah,
Okay, okay.
I haven't seen it yet.
Story time. Well, Shay said she's gonna need Tyler to step it up to the
Yeah,
20.
that's all I'm saying. That is all I'm saying. Like, I get it. It's your niche. You found it, but I'm just saying for you to build such an edifice like Tyler Perry Studios, okay, that uh let's be very clear. No other person of color has built that. They've come close, but they haven't built that. You have
Right,
a full-fledged on-site, not a backdrop, not a little thing where it's like wood in the back and it looked like a house in the front. You have full houses. You have a full functioning white house on the property sitting right there. You have houses that people can live in after you decide, you know what, we're going to expand the studio and go someplace else. But these houses, you could sell them to whomever. Like, I
right.
mean, it's not, it's wild. You know what I'm saying? So to, to really think that it's not to really limit or get stuck in that's your niche without some kind of development or growth, and that's where development and growth come into play. It's like it's cool to be in a place that works for you, but sometimes we got to step out of our comfort zones if we want to grow. Like, yeah, other stuff will grow, the money will still grow because people still watching the plays and buying the movies, so that part won't grow, but you need to elevate yourself. um
Right.
oh, thank you so much.
Do you think that is something that Tyler's getting out of it by is he coping by living these things out from things that's happened in his past, skeletons in his closet, or you think it's just a niche that he's found?
Please. I think he just likes to keep the money in his pocket. Um,
That's a niche.
because he's just used to that. You know what I'm saying? He's
Right,
used to
right,
making sure all the money comes to him and he gets to filter out himself who gets what. Um,
right,
I think he don't
right.
like too many hands in his pocket. Uh,
Yeah. Hey, Jay Nisi.
hey, thank you and welcome. Thank you for subscribing. I really do appreciate it. And please hit that thumbs up button, please, as you come in. Please, thank you. I'm trying to get everybody. Yeah, the studio is beautiful,
This is we
California
want.
girl. It definitely is.
Yeah. What do we want Tyler to do now? Um, you know, I don't want to. Me telling him what to do is limiting his skills. I just would like to see him broaden his horizons a little bit outside of the narrative that we know him to play into. I don't know what his capabilities are. I know he's very talented on multi levels and multi facets, but I don't want to tell him what to do because again, that's limitation. I just want him to expand a little bit. Um, I think he has skill a little bit more than what he's actually diving into.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in agreement with that. I think he definitely needs to, kind of step it up a little bit, and sometimes let go, like stand back from the. Um, I know he's very much an in control type person. I'm sure, but sometimes, hey, you gotta let that go. You give it to someone you trust, and you step back so you can make sure that everything is functioning well. Like, yeah, you may have an eye to see things or know where the lighting should be, and that's still fine to do that.
Right,
But you don't want to be so invested in it, to the point where everything you do is taken so personal. I think
right.
that would be the issue a little bit. Um, and switching from that, real quick to talk about Miss Hillary Clinton. She's supposed to be coming out with a documentary. Speaking of docs, she comes out with a documentary talking about 2,000 hours of her talking on the campaign about Bernie Sanders and nobody liking him and that he's hard to work with and other things, her Trump regrets, and just a whole bunch of other things. Now, me personally, and I know some people may not like this, but I just think she needs to let it go. I mean, at this point, it's just like, let it go. Because either you're going to run or you're not. I know it's hard and it's hurtful and it hurts,
Right.
um, because it was like, you basically you won popular, but you didn't win from an old "let me keep my slaves" electoral college thing, or let us pick who we want to be president because you regular people are too dumb to pick the president, because that's mainly what it was. Those two things. They didn't want regular people picking the president because they felt that you were not astute enough to know how to pick the president and have any information on what uh, policies were or what foreign affairs was or anything of that nature. And I think at this point, with all the information that we do have at our hands and at our fingertips, that there should be no reason to have a system that allows a few to pick the leader of a free world. And I think
Yeah.
that that's just really sad. I mean, it
Yeah.
lets people in like,
I agree.
George W. Bush, because that happened with him and Al Gore. And now we have, this guy who, you know, I mean, personally, he's about enriching himself and he does it on a daily basis. He doesn't really care about the country, the environment. He rolls back everything that Obama's done. I mean, how do you roll back uh, food, like health food for the kids in school on the woman's birthday that
Mm-mm.
that started. And then why would you do that of all things? Like,
Yeah.
kids eating better in school. Sometimes some of these kids, that's the only meal that they have. So
Yes.
to
Yes.
have something to wear in which it enriched them, at least to eat healthier, even if it's once or twice in that day, to go back to you know, whatever they was eating before. And I mean, don't get me wrong, I was a kid who ate the round pizzas with the
Yeah.
pepperoni and all that stuff. But two, after eating that, give me a couple more minutes. I was in class like, oh, I just want to take a nap. Because it just makes it just makes you sluggish. But
Yeah.
yeah, so I don't know.
Yeah. He lacks to sum it up, he lacks a moral compass. And without that, there are a lot of things you're not going to do right, and you're not going to be able to correctly evaluate without having a moral compass.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, I definitely believe that she needs to either get with one of them and, help elect them for 2020. Um, I mean, at this point, I don't even think talking like this or even bringing this out at this point would even if somebody was considering you to be VP, which I mean, in and of itself would still be an honor because we haven't had one. So it's like
Right.
you only want the top or nothing. You know what I'm saying? You won't take nothing less than the top notch. And sometimes, hey, sometimes you got it. Sometimes you take second place.
Right.
I mean, sometimes to take second place is just fine. But I mean, what do I know?
Julius, I'm done.
Right, Julie. Oh, gosh, yeah, he
God,
really is. And yeah, I don't think he never did. I mean, some people are like, oh yeah, he does. Look what he's done. He hasn't done anything. I mean, the man's really rode on the coattails of an uptick from Obama. That's all it's been
mhm,
for the years he's been in is uptick, and the tax thing you haven't paid for that yet.
right,
So you don't know what that's gonna look like. So yeah,
right,
everything is cool right now.
right.
Um, but we'll see. I know that that debt keeps going up, and as much as the Republicans always say about, oh, the debt is rising, he's causing it. This man done tripled, quadrupled that debt, but nobody's talking about it. Nobody seems to mention it. But before they was always getting on Obama about that.
Yeah, I can't wait to get more updates about this whole impeachment and the process of it, and see what you have to say, of course. But just knowing, like, I don't know, I just my whole system is just yearning for
It to
this.
be over. I know, but that's the idea. That's how they get it, and that's the part that I was just like I wish people would just kind of ignore it and kind of push through it because when you start to ignore something or it gets on your nerves so much to where you disconnect from it is when all the stuff starts happening and the ball starts rolling. Like
Very true.
for example, um remember the I don't know if you guys were watching any of my news things, but the Supreme Court was supposed to hear uh, arguments on abortion, which would start to chip away at Roe v. Wade. Right now,
Mhm.
they have decided that they will not hear any um, abortion things, any abortion cases, any cases on Obamacare, anything until after the election. So you say, whew, that's cool. Whew, sweat off my back. But who knows? You know what I'm saying? They'll say that now, but hey, Trump may put out an order. They may agree with the order and stamp it on through. So, it's almost like, you say he'll say something or they'll do something to where in which it'll calm everybody down. Everybody go this way. And while you go in that way, they're doing something else. So it's almost like you still got to keep your eye on things because anything can happen. An executive order can just happen and it can just be cleared for maybe the couple of months that he may still have left. So it's definitely important to definitely keep your eye open to register to vote. Uh,
Mhm.
check your registration, please, 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 because there are many states with Republican leadership that are pulling back um, on registration rolls for people that are still living. If they feel like you didn't vote last year or the last election for whatever reason, or whoever was running, but you may want to vote this year, but because you didn't vote last year, they removed your name. So it's always good to check. I think it's vote.org. You can go check. Also, too, with Story Time with Shay, we also did um, it was wonderful that she invited me to her platform. We talked about the census, the 2020 census. So definitely, please, please, please. I know it's a hassle. I know they ask a lot, and sometimes it's all up in your business. But that money, which is close, anything near, I think what somewhere in the 60s, but 65 billion dollars or so. And these monies, you hear me? This money, because we always play like that.
Right.
uh, that money actually goes to definitely a lot of your healthcare centers for your elderly, your local organizations, your social services departments to help them get more funding to help more people, your local areas like your religious coalitions or anything dealing with things that maybe the social service department cannot deal with maybe your rent eviction or electricity bill or anything like that. Uh, the census all involves all those extra funds, playgrounds, roads, all that stuff too. So definitely take the time when that comes around because they should be coming around soon. So when they do come around, please try not to ignore them. Like I said, I know it's intrusive,
Hmm.
but at this point, everything you do is pretty much intrusive in your business. So
Yeah,
if you're gonna be in my business, let me be counted and let me get what what my community needs.
yeah,
Uh, I
yeah,
think a lot of times they make sure, and no offense to the they, but they make sure that their communities get exactly what they want and need. They don't have, if you go to a different area, you don't see the liquor stores or the check cashing places and all those things, every corner, every block, because you don't. And they make sure of it. They go to the council meetings, they go to the open forums and say, hey, no, 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 I don't want that in my area. And we need to start doing that too. We need to start taking pride in our areas where we live and making sure that, hey, you know, uh, I don't want that. I don't want this in my area, or this serves no purpose.
right.
uh, so I think we can find something else to put there instead of that. And also businesses, by the way, to also use the census to decide on whether or not they want to come into your area. So that's another reason why I think it's important to definitely take part in it. They may, you may find it a bit weird and odd that Starbucks may want to move into your neighborhood, but hey, things like that can definitely enrich, and juice joints that are owned by black businesses and all those type of things. So it's definitely important to take part in it. Please don't ignore it. Like I said, yes, it's intrusive, but it definitely can work. It definitely, if you work it, it can work. That's the mindset that we need to get more involved in, and working the quote unquote system.
Yeah,
If you work the system, it will work for you, but you gotta do the work.
yeah,
So
yeah,
that's all I have to say about that.
yeah. I'll say two last things actually. One is, we just maybe within the last year or so, we had like a meeting within my community about getting the homeowners to cut their lawns back in order to create a sidewalk for the pedestrians to walk on because a lot of people do catch the bus.
Oh, let me
So
get real quick. Thank you, sister. Thank you so much. Have a great night.
yes, have a great night. Thank you so much. Have a good one. Yeah, so they had a meeting and they actually did cut the sidewalk back so that cars can get by and it's a little bit more safer for the pedestrians. But those kind
Mhm.
of things happen from the community speaking
Right.
out and going to the meeting. So
Yeah.
when you think that it doesn't affect you, it could be your loved one that has to walk those sidewalks. It's
Right.
different things that happen that you may not realize that it's effective or important to you until it is, but do not wait until it is.
Right.
Go and figure out what it is that you need to do. Lastly, I want to say on a mental health note is that I encourage everyone to spend time with yourself, whether it's looking in the mirror or just figuring out what it is that's going on with inside your mind and with inside your body. And if
Hmm.
you see that there's a need for a change or you're just not sure, it's okay to talk to yourself. Talk to yourself. Start there. And if you feel like everything is fine, keep it up, keep it going. But if you feel like there's something wrong or something that you could improve upon for yourself, for your family, for your children, or for whomever, maybe your neighbor, please take the time to tap into it to do so because your mental health is your wealth and it's very important to you.
Yeah, it's definitely very important. And to add to that, affirmations are always a good way to start. Um, even small ones. I am great. I used to in elementary school say this: I am great. I am somebody. Just constantly, and at first it was like, I am great. I am somebody, but you really start to I mean, you say it every day to yourself, you really start to believe that, and
Right.
wholeheartedly, it changes your outlook. So, I encourage everyone to, and you can find your own affirmations. You don't
Of
have
course.
to, excuse me, utilize anything I have, but definitely find your own affirmations and, say them to yourself every day. Definitely, because your wellness is very much important. Your political voice is just as important, and I ask that you utilize that and use that, because moving forward, our buying power is enormous. Like, our buying power is ridiculous. As much buying power as we have, everybody should be like asking for the vote,
Hmm.
pandering to whatever we need, and all of that. But because we don't participate in the system, because we just feel like it has done us a disservice, which to some of that degree is true, um,
Yeah.
we definitely need to be more diligent and focused and take our buying power and make it speak for us politically as well. So, with that, we have come to an hour and 15 minutes or 16 minutes, just about. And I'm just going to close this out because, other things going on and things happening. So, got to get back to it. But I would like to thank everyone, all content creators that came out. Thank you so much. Storytime with Shay, California Girl, Patty Duke, uh, BB Nice. I saw you in here. Welcome. Hope you enjoyed. And everybody else in the clouds, in the balcony. Thank you so much. I hope everyone walked away with something. Again, if you have any other questions, please I can't even get it out. Feel
Feel.
free to email me at ccn networktv@gmail.com. That's ccn networktv@gmail.com. If you have any questions really, but if they are referencing anything political, definitely open to that. Um, Other than that, please make sure you hit the thumbs up button. And if you have any closing thing you want to say,
Yeah, just thanks for everyone coming out and coming on rather, and you know, as we drop some knowledge, and if anyone would like to contact me, you can email me at mrcredential at gmail.com. There's no period in the Mr. Just mrcredential at gmail.com, for all of the things that are referencing mental health, or if you have any questions or any concerns about things that may be going on in your community that you may be able to tap into on a mental health note. So yeah, that's all I have to say. I just again thanks everyone.
I'm sorry, I was laughing in my head because when you said Mr. No, I was just saying you could email Mr. Anyway, again, thank you guys for coming out. In the words of Russell Simmons, boo, God bless and good night. But again, thank you all for coming out and have a great night.
Yeah.
Peace.
Peace.
Now we'll hit the damn button.